The MLS season is right around the corner this weekend, actually. So we're going to give you guys our predictions before the season begins. We're going to cover our top seeds in both conferences, surprise team of the year, MVP favorite, newcomer, and MLS Cup favorite to round it out. So make sure you watch the whole way through if you guys are interested in all those. Make sure to leave a like if you guys want to help us out, and help us out by subscribing as well. We're going to go to San Diego C's first home game next weekend, and we're going to vlog and record our experience there. So if you guys want to see that, it is next weekend. Yeah, we're going to record and vlog all that for you guys. For real. So, all right, let's get right into it, guys. Number one in both East and West. Who wants to go? Actually, I'm going to go first. I'm going to start it off. Let's start with the West. Number one, I think, is going to finish. And I was between. There's three teams. I was between. The team I'm picking, Seattle Sounders. I think Seattle Sounders are going to finish atop the West in first place. They got Jesus Ferreira, top MLS striker. Paul Arriola, another top MLS attacker, combined today actually in the first game together in the Champions Cup, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I think Seattle Sounders are rounding out the top of the Western Conference.
I literally had the same thing.
Attaboy.
Fuck.
They had a little bit of a fairy tale run last playoff because many people weren't expecting to get that far. But
yeah, fuck them, by the way. I was at that game that they beat us at.
That was tough. Imagine losing them.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the game we beat them actually. So, but
nice, awesome.
But Jesus Ferreira and Pariola, both are from Dallas. I know for Jesus Ferreira for sure. I think Arriola as well, and they already worked to play together. Dallas already had a good defense. That was their whole game plan. But now they added two big attackers along with Jordan Morris still there. So we got hopefully a more versatile attack. And this Seattle team, might be like legit. They might be legit good now. I know there's still questions about the way they play and if they're going to be so defensive still, but I like them. I like them a lot. And I know LAFC are still there, but they had a big change, so we don't know how they're going to fit together. And Galaxy lost a lot of key players due to financial reasons. So, at the end of the day, I think Seattle looking the strongest here.
Yeah. And let's not forget, they also have, not to mention those players, they have Obed Vargas, who's being looked at by Eredivisie teams. Stefan Fry in goal still. They have Rusnak, who had a fantastic year last year. He had 10 plus goal contributions and both assists and goals last year in the MLS. Not to mention one of the best left backs in the MLS. They're very good. Very, very good. Andres, where does that leave you? Who do you have finishing atop the West?
It's not good content-wise, I'm not going to lie to you, because I also think Seattle Sounders. And, I was the urge to say LA Galaxy just for pure vibes, you know what I mean? But in reality, I also was thinking LAFC, but, based on what I saw in the most recent match, I'm like,
okay, well,
that one. But, you know what I mean?
Started on that one.
Bench is kind of weak anyways. But fun fact I'll give you, Seattle retained 89% of their roster.
Nice.
Wow. LA Galaxy, obviously, with, winning the whole thing, you get handicapped a little bit by the league in terms of financial rules, which is why a lot of players had to leave because they had to make those decisions. So I think they're going to take a step back, but I honestly think Seattle just improved overall because I think when we were talking about the playoffs, it was all about they have a good defense. We knew that. They just don't have an attack. They can't score those goals when they need to, and they addressed that in the offseason. And I'm excited to see what happens, especially if they start firing, and they already looks like they're already off to a great start. And this literally happened today. They literally played today, and they're already firing on all cylinders. And it is important to note they do have 50 games in all competitions they are playing this season. So it's a lot. That's just minimum 50 games. It could be a lot more because, if you take into account, like, they get advanced. Right. Because they're playing the Champions Cup, Club World Cup, and Leagues Cup. So, it's a lot of games. But they have the squad depth to do it at a compared to all the teams in the Western Conference. Right, true. And it depends on who they take the importance on for which competition. Oh, yeah, I think they're a strong competitor. Honorable mention should be Real Salt Lake. They had a very strong season last season. But I feel like that was kind of a fluke in terms of I don't think they really did anything to build on that, in my humble opinion.
I mean, Real Salt Lake are interesting also because they lost Chicho, who had a fantastic season. He went to San Jose. Interesting why they got rid of him. Galaxy, though, I think obviously Galaxy should still be involved, but it's not going to be the same Galaxy for last year. Obviously, you lost Jovic, your striker, to Kansas City. You're probably going to lose Gabriel Peck. Reports coming out saying that Atletico Madrid have already made bids for him. He's gone. If not in January, he's gone in summer. And Ricky Puig and Pencil are both hurt to go into the season for a long period of time, an extended period of time. It's going to be very hard for the Galaxy to maintain the same momentum that they had last year, not just because of MLS salary cap rules, just because they've been unfortunate with those injuries. Galaxy, I think, are going to finish in the playoff position for sure, maybe fourth or fifth, around there, maybe third. I don't see winning the conference. LAFC also, I think it was neck and neck for me with Seattle and LAFC. I think with LAFC, there's more questions surrounding them. They lost Matty Bogusz. They replaced him with some good players. They have some good players, but it sometimes doesn't work. We still haven't seen how really Dolo wants to play. So a lot more questions still. So yeah, Seattle Sounders. Now, atop the Eastern Conference, we'll start with Andres, so he's not, in case we pick the same one again. Andres, who you got top of the East?
I put shocker here, guys. Real shocker. I'm not gonna lie. Inter Miami.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Okay, look. It's hard when you got the league's child on the team, you know what I mean? So like it just bound to that. And I also, they come off such a historic season, granted, in certain cases arguably, bailed out in certain things, and making the Club World Cup somehow, yada yada yada. So yeah, and they have a big squad compared to a lot of teams, and they just kept growing somehow despite the MLS having whack transfer rules, and it seems like those don't apply to them because they're able to just bring in anybody they want. But it is important to note that they are participating in a lot of competition, just like Seattle Sounders. Actually, they're participating in the U.S. Open Cup, and I don't think Seattle Sounders is. So that's another competition they got to worry about. And their team's a lot older, specifically they're veterans, but they have a new manager, and and I think they're playing right now, and they're actually already doing pretty good. So especially the Eastern Conference is arguably a lesser tier conference compared to the Western Conference. I think they have this in the bag, in my humble opinion. Unfortunately, it pains me to say that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I wish I could pick someone else, but the most obvious answer is Inter Miami.
Yeah, I have Inter Miami as well. Diego, do you have Inter Miami too?
I do not.
Let's go!
Content!
I'll sit up better
Obviously,
seats
in Miami, the easy choice, and they have Messi. I mean, as far as with no knees, is still one of the best strikers in the league. With that being said, they are very reliant on those players who are old and don't have that stamina anymore. So, with that being said, are they still the easy choice? Yes. But my choice here is Cincinnati FC. I think Cincinnati are looking incredibly good. And for those who don't know, let me put you on Cincinnati. They finished, as far as I'm aware, I think they finished third last season. A solid season. They got knocked out by NYCFC early, though, unfortunately, and by penalties. Not something they were hoping for with that strong season. But all they did was just get so much stronger. They added Evander from Portland Timbers, who had a 15 goal, 15 assists. MVP candidate who had a 15 goal, 15 assist season last season. They bought a striker, Kevin Denke. And he is from the Belgian league, as I'm pretty sure, and he was a then transfer record fee, not anymore because Atlanta United beat that, but brought him in for 16 mil, 15 mil, something like that. So not only have a huge strike partnership up front now, but their whole solid foundation. They still have a great defense. These guys are dangerous, and that front pairing, dude, is going to be crazy. I'm telling you guys right now, dropping crazy numbers. So I'm liking Cincinnati. I think they're more rounded. They don't rely on a single player like they do with Messi, and I think that for that reason they can be more consistent over this next season. So you're going to hear here first. Cincinnati FC. Yeah. I think they're going to be dangerous.
I like that. I have Inter Miami. Just like Andres said, easy pick. They had a fantastic season, literally record-breaking season last year. And now they're more grown into the role that they actually be playing, each individual player. Now, I do think this might be the last season where they are on top there because Messi might be leaving at the end of the season. But Inter Miami's up there. But you can have a few teams, and I want to give credit to the Eastern Conference, actually, opposite of Andres, because this season this season will definitely be more competitive. A lot of good moves for a lot of these Eastern Conference teams, good and bad, actually. You could throw Cincinnati in there. Atlanta deserves to be back in that conversation. They brought Miguel Almiron back. They paid $22 million for a striker, and it's going to be pretty good for Atlanta United. So it's going to be a good race at the top. I don't want to give Inter Miami right away. Orlando could be involved there. Columbus can still be involved there, even though they lost a big player in Cucho and Christian Ramirez. Eastern Conference is going to be good, but I'm going to give Inter Miami. Let's move on to player-wise now. Your guys' MVP favorites for this year, and I want to start it off, if you guys don't mind. It's a shame he hasn't won it already in the past because he is a fantastic player and is always in the conversation, and it's Bouanga. I think it's his year to shine.
What a shock.
He won He's won Golden Boots. He's always been in the conversation. Just somebody else has just one step up above him. Well, but this year I think he's going to, because we lost Matty Bogusz. He's going to be involved with the goal scoring records and the assisting records. I think this is the year that he finally gets the award of MVP, which he's deserved in the past, and puts him up there with Carlos Vela at the club. I think it's Denny Bouanga's year. Andres, your MVP favorite would now be then instead
Gabriel Peck, if he doesn't leave.
I mean, I was gonna say, look, it's valid. It's a total valid.
Look, if he doesn't leave, I think it's like, look, he shouldn't be playing in the MLS because he's too damn good for this league.
Right.
And it took a little bit last season to find his form. Arguably, you could say that Painsil was better at the beginning of the season. It looked like Painsil was going to be the better signing, but once he found his feet, he found it towards the latter end of the season, not like kind of like mid-season. He found it, and then in the playoffs, he was firing on all cylinders. Let's be real here; he was making guys look silly left and right. And I think you can only build on that. Granted, look, so if you compare last season winner, if anyone remembers, it was Messi. And he won with 36 goal contributions, so 20 goals, 16 assists, but he only did that in 19 matches. Granted, remember when you are the penalty taker, it's easy to score goals. But especially if you're Inter Miami. So look, he was pretty close. He also tied, to be fair, Gabriel Peck tied that the same number of goal contributions, just in more games. Mm-hmm. And it took a little bit for him to start up, and then he got injured too. You got to remember that in the beginning of last season. No Ricky Puig till August. Apparently, that's the report because of his ACL. It takes a while, and so the team's going to be on his shoulders. But I think he's ready to shine if he continues how he is. Apparently, he's already had a pretty good preseason. So if he continues and leaves off where he left off last season, I think he has a pretty strong shout of being MVP if Galaxy is able to retain him, which I think they will, because I don't think they'll let him go without having all their key players back.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, though, there's two things I want to say to that. And I don't disagree. I think Gabriel Peck, if he is to be here the whole season, he is a contender to some extent. But two things, obviously.
Newcomer of the year. Don't forget.
Yes. So the first thing is, I don't think he's not going to last. He could leave in the next week because he's getting offers from big clubs to the point where I think he might be asking for his way out. Atletico Madrid come knocking, you're going to answer, right? And so we'll see how that transpires. If he doesn't leave now, he's for sure leaving in summer. But I think Ricky Puig not being there is a big deal for Gabriel Peck. Ricky Puig in the MLS had 12 assists. I think Gabriel Peck is going to be missing that midfield distribution at least a little bit. The Galaxy also lost Delgado to LAFC. Let's not forget that too, who is a big, good midfielder for MLS Cup winner. I think Gabriel Peck is going to suffer a little bit from the lack of options he has around the team. So I can't fully. I was considering him too, but I don't want to put him as number one just for those reasons. Diego, your number one would be.
It's going to be the guy I already mentioned, Evander. I don't know how to say his name exactly, but
I think Evander, yeah.
From Cincinnati FC. He had a great season in Portland Timbers, who were a worse team than Cincinnati. He has a strike partnership now with an elite striker. So by all the standards that we're judging here, he should just be having as good, if not a better season, a better team around him, and he's going to be scoring more goals. So I think if he just keeps up that same thing, like last season, he was up there, and you had a great season from Messi and from Peck and a few others like Belonga, but he's just gonna be consistently as good again. So I'm gonna go Evander. I think he has a good chance. I will say that I think, unfortunately, that Cincinnati aren't a big market team.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to play the PR and all that shit. I hate to do all the politics, but at the end of the day, it will matter a little bit, and I just hope that doesn't hurt. He's not getting that big screen time that, say, an LA Galaxy or LAFC or Inter Miami get. So the hope is that because he plays for Cincinnati, it doesn't kind of dwindle that chance just because it's a smaller market team. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, valid though. They still get big players though, even though not being a big market.
They still do.
All right, second to last award here, best newcomer. I think it's going to be Emmanuel Latte Lath, who is that 22 million striker I mentioned earlier for Atlanta United. If he doesn't win best newcomer of the year, it should be disappointing. 22 million is a big purchase for an MLS team. You could argue that they overpaid for him.
It's an MLS transfer record.
It is.
Actually.
It is.
Yeah.
Which is good for the league overall. See where they're going. Might not be good for Atlanta if he's not firing. But he does have Miguel Almiron behind him, who knows how to work alongside a great striker. If you remember Josef Martinez from years past in Atlanta United, I think he's going to finish with newcomer of the year for me. 22 million. He has to, like I said, he has to. Diego, go ahead.
I'm going to say it quickly. I agree. I have the same reasoning, whatever, all of that good stuff. He played for Middlesbrough in the championship. That is a tough league. That is a physical league. So he's going to be ready for this kind of bully ball that the defenders like to just throw in there. And it's not going to be as good. He should be easily, I'm going to be honest, this should be a step down from him, if anything. This is going to be easy for him. He's already big. He scored 11 goals for Middlesbrough. So I think, like you said, 22 million MLS transfer record. He has to be getting newcomer of the year. That's kind of an expectation at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andres, give us yours.
I gotta back my Mexican boy, Chucky Lozano.
Oh God.
Now this is where the bias comes in. I'm not gonna lie to you, but for the sake of content purposes and backing the new expansion team, I think a lot rides on him in the sense of who do you guys said biggest transfer fee in MLS, but also he's the face of San Diego FC, and I think if you look at the impact Carlos Vela had, obviously that's the best in terms of being the face of an expansion team. You can argue Chicha had an impact to an extent. But I think Chucky, in terms of carrying the team, is going to be big, and I really hope he does. Honestly, obviously, the highlight of Chucky's career was the goal against Germany, and that was back in 2018. So that was fucking
7 years ago.
7 years ago. So
yeah,
hopefully, I'm hoping this is just like literally no stats behind this shit. Because even when he was at PSV, he hardly played. Shout out to PSV for being Juventus today, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope. I'm hoping that, with his, speed that he still has a little bit of and his European experience, he's able to still have an impact to a certain degree. So that's my hope is MLS Newcomer of the Year. But I also see your point. But I'm going to be biased on this one. For the sake of
honestly, I would like for him to do it. I just don't see it happening just because of the kind of player he is. I don't know. He's not going to get the numbers that other players might, I think. I think he's going to be important for SDFC. He has to be important for San Diego FC. I just don't think he's going to have the pedigree by the end of the season to take it over the likes of maybe Emmanuel Latelath or anybody else that was brought in this past season. So not a bad shout, though. I know other analysts and during my research, a lot of people were saying the same thing. He might come up with a splash, but we'll see. All right, we got one more, though. MLS Cup Favorite, and I'm going to start off by saying, despite me not putting them as one of the top of the conferences, I think it's LAFC. I still think it's LAFC. Let me explain first before you lean back. LAFC consistently gets to the ends of tournaments, almost to a fault, to the point where we've lost too many finals in those tournaments because we're just always consistently there. I think it's going to be the same thing this year. We still have the tools that we needed to get that far. I think we have the chance to beat a lot of teams in the West in comparison to years past. So I think we're going to be there. I think we're going to be at least in the final, hopefully in the final. I think we're going to win it this year again too. Seattle could. My only issue with Seattle is that they haven't. It's going to be their first season with a new attack. It's going to be a little bit different. I don't know if they're going to have it fully sorted out by then, but they could be there still. Yeah, it's my big two, I think it's going to be a West win again. Andres, give me yours. Your MLS Cup
I'm going to
favorite.
actually piggy off of what you said about Seattle and make a counter argument. I picked Seattle.
Talk to me. Okay.
Like I mentioned when I was talking about them winning the Western Conference, they have a lot of games to be played and a lot of different competitions, and I think that you could say negatively impacts them, fatigue and all that jazz. But I think it benefits them, and yeah, they have a new attack, but I think they have so many games to figure that out. And, you could say like, they could not get out of their group stage in the Club World Cup. That's a possibility. But I think at the same time, they take advantage of Champions Cup and Leagues Cup, I think is going to be important for them to figure out the way they're going to play and the way the attack's going to link to the midfield and the defense is going to link to the midfield to the attack and all that jazz. And I think it's just a matter of time to figure it out. I don't think it's going to be clicking, but by the time we're at that stage, I'm pretty sure they're going to be clicking to that extent. Because look at Galaxy last season. They weren't really clicking on the attack at the beginning of the season completely. True. There was a little lacking. And then by the end of the season, it was like, oh, this is easy. We're putting so many goals past everybody, cakewalking through them. Let's be real. So, I think Seattle is just a matter of time of figuring out what they're going to do on the attack because it's new for them. They're really a defensive team, but they've added a lot of attackers. So now they got to find that balance. So, and I think once they find that balance, and I think they will by that time, especially because it's at the end of the season and they will be in a position to push for the final. That's why I think they're going to win it. Personally, I just think also younger squad than Inter Miami, because I know a lot of people are like putting Inter Miami to win it, but they got knocked out by Atlanta. So it's like, I feel like they're good. It's in season, but in reality, they're not that good. High stakes playoff games.
Very fair. I guess my counter argument to the counter argument would be I think it's too many games. By the time the MLS Cup comes around, I think there might be
so basic.
Diego, your MLS Cup favorite, my friend.
Honestly, like this is there's no outright favorite. I can't say I was an easy decision. I went with Seattle, but
it's like a reality show where he has to pick his the girl for the weekend.
Mr. Cassandra, it wasn't an easy decision, but I've decided to choose Melanie. Bro, even
I went with Seattle, but I want to throw an honorable mention. I really like Cincinnati. With that being said, I think Seattle's experience, because they're one of those that consistently make the playoffs. They consistently have made finals. I know actually a bit of a low kind of a form right now these past few years, but I mean they just made pretty far last year, and they have this like ability to keep making it far. They've been consistently throughout the league's history a top team, and they continue to do that. And they just got better. I understand the games played, and I totally get that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of throw away maybe a competition or two, knowing that they have such a strong chance at these other competitions. They play some of these like young kids, in these throwaway competitions. So
sorry,
I'm gonna go with Seattle, but I think Cincy's a great shout. I think LAFC is a good shout. Into Miami, they're too inconsistent for me, but just because of how reliant
just like
they
your
are.
jerseys. Sorry,
bro has beef with everyone. But yeah, but Seattle just because I like their chances.
All right. Well, if you guys are at this point in the video, make sure to leave a like and let us know your opinion on each topic we covered today in the comments down below. We're going to read and react to as many as we can. Otherwise, I think it's going to be one of the best MLS seasons of all time. Everything is looking in that direction. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be watching. We're going to be going to games. Like I said, we'll be at the SDFC game, the first home game. We're going to vlog that. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to subscribe to us. Yeah, hopefully see you guys in that video and others. And take care. Bye.